All right, a few points on Tameshiwari, the test of breaking. Most of what you see out there is really just a trick. For instance, you'll see stacks of material and people breaking through several slabs at once. If you look closely, you'll notice that there's just a tiny little bit of space in between each piece. They use spacers, sometimes pencils or little pieces of bamboo or something in between. And what that does is it makes it so that instead of breaking several pieces, it's more like breaking one piece several times in a row. And so what that means by comparison, if you take two pieces of the same material and stack them together without spaces, it's actually a lot harder to break those two pieces than it would be to break 5 pieces stacked with spacers. Okay, so look for that. It's just a trick. It's really just breaking one piece, and kids do that all the time. The other thing, when you see people breaking like bricks, like red bricks or stones, if you look closely, they usually hold it over some other solid surface, and they will lift it just ever so slightly off of that surface before executing the strike. And really what's going on there is they're just smashing two hard, brittle materials together, and the smaller one breaks. So it has nothing to do with what's going on with the other hand. It doesn't have anything to do with the striking hand. You can take a brick and then hold it over a cinder block at the corner and smash it with one hand, and it will often break. Though that's all that's going on there. So, with real Tameshiwari, it's not so much about what you're breaking as it is how you're breaking it. And there's 3 main types of Tameshiwari. There are power breaks, there are speed breaks, and there are soft breaks. Now, a power break or a hard break is pretty much what you'd expect. It's your typical using muscle power, and it still requires some skill because it has to do with body alignment and all of that kind of stuff. But when you see power breaks, more often than not, what you're going to see is either another person holding the material by 2 sides, or the material put on a stationary platform where it's supported on 2 sides. And so what you're doing is you're powering through the material against the resistance that's behind it. Okay? Speed breaks are what you would expect them to be. They rely on the acceleration part of the equation. Force equals mass times acceleration. So with speed breaks, a lot of times you will see more of the narrow type striking surfaces like shuto or nukete or ipponkin, and the material will often be supported only on one side or hanging from a rope or even free falling. They might throw it in the air or something like that, and that's to show that with these types of strikes, it's more like a bullet than it is like a bat, if that makes any sense. That's probably the best metaphor I can come up with for it, or analogy I can think of to give you. So that's why they do it in free fall or with hanging from like a rope or something, so that there's no resistance behind it. And so you're not plowing through the material like you do in a power break, but rather you're hitting it with such speed, with such acceleration that it snaps. Okay, and then the last type is soft breaking. Now, it's difficult to describe soft breaking or anything to do with soft power to people who don't have experience with soft power. But I talked about this previously when I was talking about striking. That's what brought me to go ahead and do this little video. So with soft power, you're going back to the mass part of the equation more so than the acceleration part of it. But instead of using like muscle power, raw powering through it, right? You're more, the movements will tend to be more relaxed, and rather than, putting a lot of effort into it, it's almost more like falling into the material. So you're using your body weight and gravity to generate most of the force, as opposed to using muscle power or, like in speed breaks, acceleration. So hopefully that clarifies some things a little bit and gives you some context for future videos where I might be breaking some stuff. So see you next time.